Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I am your host, Josh Culler, and today we got a special guest on the show, Duy Nugyen, out of Winter Haven, Florida. Man, that's the winter months are coming around. We were just talking about the weather before we started this podcast, and I'm like,
we don't get much winter.
Yeah, in Winter Haven, Florida, right? So the winter months are coming around for us, and I'm like super jealous. But that's why we're going down to Miami for the November mastermind. So we're all good there, right? Like it's gonna be.
It should be good weather.
Okay, cool.
You shouldn't be sweating.
So it's moderate heat, like warmer.
It's hit or miss. One day it'll be 90 degrees. Next day it'll be like in your 70s.
You know what? As long as it's not like 10 degrees, like it'll be up here, I'm totally cool with it. Even if it's 20, I'll take it. So, but before we get into it, guys, so Duy is actually a part of the Good Success Mastermind. So he's been with us since February. Yep. What do you think so far? Pretty good stuff?
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Yeah, learning a lot. A lot of good connections. I love it.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. So Duy, like we said, is out of Winter Haven, Florida, part of the Good Success Mastermind. But he's got a little bit of a newer start in real estate, but his business is completely taken off. So we're actually going to get into that a little bit. More of the entrepreneurial side, and then also his background, how he got into real estate, and maybe even some advice for people that are wanting to get into real estate full time, because that's where you're at now. So that'll be cool. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. But before we get into it, if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and a bunch of other platforms. So just go to the platform, look for Good Success, subscribe to us, and leave a review if you're able to on the platform. Then we have the Active Turnkey book. You got one of these, didn't you?
I did get one.
So we gave these out to our guys. So you got lucky there.
A lot of good information in there.
That's good. Awesome. So the Active Turnkey book, we're giving this away for free. Tom Olson is paying for it out of his pocket, but you guys get it for free. All you gotta do is cover shipping costs. So go to goodsuccess.com/ATK book, and you can pick that up there. Take advantage of it. It's a lot, like Duy said, a lot of great information in there. Tom talks about the 5 wealth drivers, how to build wealth in real estate, and passive income. The subtitle is the best way to buy rentals. So that's what we believe in, the Active Turnkey model. And this is one of Tom's ways of giving back, is the reason why we're actually giving this away for free. Just cover shipping costs. We're going to pay for the book. Take advantage of that. goodsuccess.com/ATK book. Don't miss out. And then, like we just talked about, Duy is a part of the Good Success Mastermind. So the next event is November 8, 9, and 10. We're actually going to have a boat ride. Are you going to be in that? The boat ride?
I think
the 7th?
so. I think
okay.
it should be a lot of fun.
That's going to be cool.
Excited.
So we've been saying that whatever happens on the boat stays on the boat, but me and Tom are kind of conflicting. We're both thinking, should it stay on the boat or should it go on social media directly? Because then that's kind of advertising for us.
Tom does like the Facebook Live stuff.
So. Right, exactly. so but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is what it is. We're just gonna let it go with the flow. But November 8, 9, and 10, Miami, Florida. You're on the you're not in the Panhandle.
No, we're dead center of Florida.
Dead center. Okay, that's what I thought. And
so
then
about 3.5 hours from Miami.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So he's close there, local Floridian there. So it's going to be exciting. But you guys don't miss out on that. goodsuccess.com/mastermind. If you want to learn more about it, we do have you fill out an application there. We don't let just anybody in the room. You guys are going to get to talk to or hear. That'd be cool if they could talk to you, but I'm going to get to talk to you. But they're going to be able to hear Duy talk during the podcast today and see what kind of a person he is. And that's the type of caliber that we have in the rest of the room. So it's a great culture that we put together. So fill out the application, and then you'll talk to either myself or Tom, and then we'll get you into the mastermind. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind. All of the links that we talk about are going to be in the comment section below. And then if you're listening to the podcast, just go to the websites and you'll find us there. So let's go ahead and get into some questions today, Duy. So we're just going to chat.
Yeah.
So funny story. So Duy is actually coming to Northwest Indiana this weekend for Gary Harper and Sharper Business Solutions, Sharper Leadership Circle, right? That's what you're going to be a part of. Circle. Right. So that's this weekend. But Duy is actually visiting our office today. So I was texting Duy this morning. I knew he was going to be coming in. And I'm like, man, I need to get you on the podcast. Like, you're going to be here. Can we just spend like 20 or 30 minutes just getting you into the podcast in the studio? So Duy was actually on the podcast. I think it was like episode... Was it 98 or 99 or something like that? It was. It was a few episodes ago. It's been so many. I think this is like 128 or something. So, but he was on the podcast already before. But it's always good to have him back and interview him again. So I'm looking forward to this. So, do us a brief favor. Introduce yourself, what you do, how long you've been doing that, and then go into a little bit of your background as well.
So I'm primarily fix and flip. I'm actually in a transitional stage right now. We're going to move more. Should I look in that camera?
No, you just look at me. You're good to go. Yeah, you're good to go.
So we're going to transition more into a wholesale type model. So that's kind of why I want to come see you guys and see what you guys do here. It's just more consistency. It's cool. I'm looking for fix and flips right now are just kind of up and down. You'll go a month, flip 3-4 properties, and then the next month you go dry. So I'm looking for more of that consistency, more deal flow, more money, consistent money coming in. But started in real estate back in 2012, till in 2011. Started right into the fix and flips and started learning how to wholesale a little bit. Started with about 5 fix and flippers that I wholesaled my properties to. And so I kind of learned a little bit more of the marketing stuff, and all of that. So, but that is a little bit, the background as far as real estate. As far as my personal background, born and raised in Winter Haven, Florida. I've always been a hustler, always worked. Since I was 5 years old, we put together little sprinkler heads called MaxiJet.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad's still part of the company, so he still subcontracts
awesome.
all that work.
Wow.
So we did that for like ever, man.
Wait, how old are you?
I started at 5.
Wow, okay.
As soon as I was able to get coordinated enough to put these little pieces together.
Purebred entrepreneur there, man.
Just hard working, man.
Awesome.
I don't know about entrepreneurship, but it was definitely hard work.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then right when I graduated high school, we opened up a dry cleaner. Me and my dad did, and we used to butt heads too much. And then that first year, he was like, I can't do this with you anymore. So he kind of just handed it over to me, and I kind of took over, and did that for about 10 years. And learned a lot. Had 25 employees, all women. At a young age, that's just kind of a lot. But
yeah, that's a lot.
That's kind of like my beginning stages of entrepreneurship.
Right.
Running the business and all that.
So what are some things that you learned from that dry cleaning business? It's always super interesting learning from other businesses outside of real estate. So obviously, a lot of the guests that we have on the show here are in real estate in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
But it's always interesting hearing other perspectives because also in I believe it was the May Mastermind that we had a dentist in the room. So Marty Verbeek was in the room, and I heard a couple of guys say, man, it's awesome hearing from a different perspective about business because business is business no matter what industry you're in. Obviously, there's going to be specific tweaks you got to make. So dentistry is not the exact same as real estate, obviously, but the business principles are still the same. So what are some things like out of that business that you learned that you've been able to apply to your real estate business now?
Well, I don't think I ever want to grow into a company of 25 employees.
Yeah.
That was a little bit much to manage. I was still working with 25
Tom's
employees.
at 39, so.
Yeah. Even then, I was still working, 80, 90-hour weeks. Like, I was working 7 days, a week. So, but probably takeaways, just treat people right. I haven't seen some of these ladies, 5-6 years now since I've been out of the dry cleaning business, but they still love it. It's like, I don't know, it's like the connection there, the relationship is just amazing to be able to help them. So they still come to me from time to time, and when they need help, or we just talk, and it's just like that connection, that family. Like we see each other as family as opposed to just employee employer. So I think just treating people right, working with integrity, keeping that culture has helped me transition over to real estate because I feel like customer service should be top priority. And I think that kind of helped me in that.
Absolutely.
A big takeaway.
Absolutely. So then growing up, so you talked about how you were a hard worker, and I use the word entrepreneur, but you said a hard worker. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean that's kind of a good foundation. It is a good foundation for any kind of entrepreneur because if you don't have hard work ethic, if you don't have a hard work ethic, then you kind of can't go anywhere because entrepreneurship obviously takes a lot of hard work.
Right.
How did you kind of develop that at an early age? I mean, you said you started off at 5 putting those sprinkler heads together. So what kind of what did you pick that up from your dad? Did you pick them up from siblings, or how did you what was it? Do you think it was just your DNA that you're a hard worker, or?
Well, I think it was a mixture of both. My parents, we hardly ever saw my parents because they always worked. I mean, they came over here from Vietnam as immigrants. So they came with literally nothing but the clothes on their back. My dad worked in orange groves. He actually started from pruning trees to actually being an owner of the company. So he worked from the ground level up.
Yeah.
But being able to see that and also starting working at such a young age, we started at 5 years old. If I went to my uncle's house, they did sprinkler heads too. So I did get play games.
So anywhere you went,
everywhere I went, I was doing sprinkler heads, man. I was like, That's all we did, you know.
Hilarious.
So we didn't have a bunch of toys or nothing. We just worked. So I mean, just growing up in that, you know, that's all we did.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So then kind of transitioning to where you're at today. So you're in real estate. Obviously, you're in our mastermind. And so you're at that level. You're at that caliber. Because we don't let just anybody into our mastermind that's doing, you know, one deal a year or something like that. We have a couple of people that are like doing less deals than, you know, some of our top level members. But for you, what are some things that you have learned over the past 5-6 years that you've been in real estate that you're like, I wish I knew, like now you know this, but I wish I knew that way back when I started into real estate. So that way I could have been ahead of the curve. So somebody that's listening that's like, okay, Duy, I'm right now where you were at in 2011. Tell me something that you know now that you can inform me on.
Well, having the right systems and processes in place is probably the biggest thing. That's kind of what we learned in Gary's leadership circle. Right. Is how to implement the EOS and how to fill your accountability chart or your seats, fill all the right people in the right seats. So for me, you know, up until about 3 weeks ago, I was still by myself.
Which we pounded you on at that.
You did. You pounded me pretty hard. And, you know, I'm so glad that y'all did, because come Monday morning, I was like, I'm definitely hiring somebody. And since then, I've hired my mother-in-law as my admin assistant. And also, I just picked up an acquisitions manager 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. Well, that's cool.
And that alone, like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
It's like, dude, things that was taking me months and months and months to do, to implement, to even just simple forms, she does in like a day.
So these things that you have your acquisitions person and your mother-in-law doing now, the admin work, that's all stuff that you were doing before by yourself.
I was doing everything. I was managing projects, all the finances, all the admin stuff, all the follow-up, all the, you know, from A to Z, closings, you know, acquisitions, everything, dispositions. I was doing everything. So now I'm able to unload a little bit. It is a little bit of a learning curve because both of them aren't in the real estate or from real estate background. So I'm having to kind of hold her hand a little bit. But with my acquisitions girl, I mean, dude, she picks things up like so fast, and she probably does it better than I do. Like, she can pull stuff out of my head, and that's the biggest thing for me. Is it was so hard for me to get stuff out of my head, and she's able to pull a lot of information out. So it's been pretty awesome. That's
good. So then it's safe to say that delegating has been a huge benefit to you and your business.
I could definitely see the benefits, for sure.
Absolutely. So then does that free up more time for you to be able to do biz dev and focus on relationships and sales? Or
well, it only happened about the last 3 weeks, so we're still in that transition stage, but I can see the benefits of it. So like all of our systems are starting to come into place. And so I think, I do foresee me being able to get out of all these seats.
So you had the systems and processes set in place before you hired either of them. Is that correct?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
So we are like creating all these things right now. Everything was by myself, so I didn't really, every day was a different thing. I was doing 100 different things at one time, so I didn't really have the systems and processes in place. But now we're starting to put those in place, and I think, I can foresee it being really awesome.
Right. So then, having said that, with systems and processes, because we talk about it a lot. We've had Gary on the show before, and he's talked about systems and processes. So somebody that is maybe they're even in their business already and they're deep into it, but they don't have systems and processes systems and processes set up. I've got 3 podcasts today, and I'm already starting off bad, man. So
no worries.
Somebody that's in that position, but they don't have that set up yet. What would you tell them? Like, it's important for this reason to have your systems and processes set up. Obviously, one of them is so that you can throw somebody into the line in order to, it'll be easier for them to get into the business and start working. What are some things outside of that? Like, why is it so important to get those things squared away?
Well, you can't scale, for one. I mean, it's impossible to scale by yourself. I kind of hit that ceiling, and I knew I needed to change something. So it's unscalable. I mean, you have to have systems and processes in place. You have to put the right people in the right seats, or else you're just going to be, flatlined. I mean, just no way to go around that. So that's super important. The other thing is, you need to have a process in order for everything, I think. If you don't, and you're just scatterbrained, you're going to drop the ball here, you're going to drop the ball things aren't going to get done. So you need to make sure you have the right process in place to where everything kind of just goes smoothly. Every single transaction, everything in your business, even in life, everything just needs to run smooth. And if it's not, it's kind of chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very vital for any business. Even, I mean, you only have 3 people on your team now, but there's business like our business, we have 39 employees across all 4 of our brands that we have. And so it's extremely vital to have all of that set in place, because there are so many things that can happen in between. Like so from the start of a project to the end of a project, that's a process. And there are, I don't know, probably like over 50 to 75 steps that are in that process, with probably 5 or 6 different swim lanes that include finance, marketing, sales, construction, all kinds of stuff. So having systems and processes in place is extremely important. And in the future, we'll have Gary back on to talk more in depth about that, because we actually talked about something else, but he did talk about it a little bit. So, but that's good to hear. So one of the things that you mentioned was right people in right seats. So that book behind you, Good to Great, that we have right there, I think it's in the camera view, but they talk about right people on the right seats on the bus. So they tell you, picture your business as a bus, right? And you have these seats, and whoever's sitting in those seats are your employees, your team, right? And then each seat stands for a specific role in the business. So for you, now that you have 2 people on your team, I know you're only 3 weeks in, but has it been very apparent to you that these people are in the right seat, or you see them at least developing into that seat? And what would you tell somebody that maybe is a solopreneur that needs to hire somebody? Like, why in the first place did you hire somebody? Was it to fill those seats because either they weren't getting done, or you just couldn't focus on those seats, or you didn't want to do them, or...
Well, I got to the point where I was starting a whole bunch of different things, and I never finished anything.
Okay.
So I got to that point, and it was like, I got 14 projects going on right now. Like, I'm project managing. I'm still trying to acquire more properties. I'm trying to sell these things. Right. It's like I'm doing 100 different things. Like you said, there's like 75 steps in the process. I'm doing all of them. Right. So it was really hard for me to focus on one thing. And I knew it's just impossible to scale. It's impossible to have consistency that way. Right. My projects were kind of lagging on. What used to take me a month to turn a property around was taking 3-4 months. So now I got all these projects going on that I can't oversee, efficiently. Yeah. And so now, so that's what I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to bring somebody on to start filling some of these seats and kind of help me scale this business.
Absolutely. I think the word that stood out to me there was efficiently. So efficiently, that's very key in business. And I was actually just talking about this with Tom yesterday, because we were talking about Amazon. So this book right here, so we actually printed these with a local print shop, but we're actually going to make them available on Amazon pretty soon to sell them. And one thing that's very interesting that a lot of people actually don't know about Amazon is when you publish with Amazon, so it's pretty much self-publishing, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. So you upload your files, you upload your cover and all that, the size that you want. Do you want glossy or matte finish on the cover, that kind of thing. And one thing that people don't know is that it's not like Amazon prints a bunch of these off. They get like a bulk order, and then they print a bunch of them off, and then they store them away in a warehouse like somewhere in the back. And then when somebody orders it, then they just go to the back, pull the order, and then ship it like that. What people don't know is that typically when you publish with Amazon, actually not typically, when you do publish with Amazon, a lot of books are published with Amazon nowadays because people just realize that they can do it themselves.
All right.
Is that so if you went online right now and purchased this book on Amazon, they print the book right then and there, then they ship it off the next day. That's efficiency, because efficiency it's not being efficient is having the book stowed away at a back of a warehouse. Right. And it's just little things like that probably save Amazon an insane amount of money because of how big they are with warehouses, because there's so many books there's millions of books on Amazon.
Right.
And for them to keep all of that in stock is just crazy. So efficiency is huge in any business. You just talked about how it is for your business specifically. So I think if people focused on that more, they would, save a lot more money, but a lot less stress. There's just so many benefits to it. Being efficient, but that also comes with systems and processes.
Exactly.
So systems, processes, people, efficiency. There you go. All right. So
coin that.
Yeah, exactly. I just gave it to you. It's right here. You heard it first on the Good Success Podcast. So kind of going into real estate a little bit more. You talked about how you're here to learn more about wholesaling. So so you've been doing fix and flipping.
Yes.
Right. And so why interested in going to wholesaling?
More consistency, and plus, you know, I don't know what the market's going to do. You know, if I'm holding the bag 14 properties and market crash tomorrow, I'm sitting on 14 properties that I can't sell. So the wholesale model, there's less risk. You know, I know how wholesale, but I don't have a good process in it right now. Is what we're kind of building out, and it seems like you guys got your stuff together. Right. You know, so why not learn from the best? Right. So that's kind of why I want to do the transition here.
So how's the market down there? You're specifically doing deals in Winter Haven, right? Are you doing any outside?
Just all Polk County. So
Polk County, okay.
Yeah, so it's Lakeland, Haines City, like within the Polk County. There's like I don't know, 8 or 9 cities in Polk County.
Gotcha. So wholesaling. Awesome. Okay, cool. So Tim Davis is right next to you in Lakeland.
Yes.
Who's also a part of our mastermind, and he's doing property management. So have you learned anything from him coming out of it? So obviously I know you guys have connected and everything. So, and you're in the same market.
Right.
So what are some things that you found like in your market specifically that maybe you've learned from Tim or anybody else?
Well, he's currently managing 3 of my properties now.
Awesome.
But we actually kind of sat down a couple of weeks ago. We want to kind of start doing more business together. Awesome. So we don't really connect as much as we would like to. But that is, you know, something that we plan on doing here soon.
Absolutely. So then along those same lines, then how big is networking for you? I know that we push networking really hard in the mastermind. Right. Like that's why we're doing the whole boating activity. It's not so that we can say, hey, we're going on a boat and that kind of thing. Like we're specifically doing it to get more networking time in for the mastermind guys. So for you, how big has networking been? Is it something that's been very, very beneficial to you? Has it helped you grow in your business? So what are some benefits?
No, it's been huge. You guys are helping me connect me to the right people to help scale the business. You know, before, you know, coming to the Good Success Mastermind, I was still by myself, doing everything, not knowing which route to go, you know, but now everything's starting to click now, and I'm starting to meet the right people, and they're kind of helping me with the right stuff, like Gary with the systems and processes, right, and, you know, lenders and stuff like that. So it's all starting to come together.
Yeah, that's good. So then, so I told you that we're going to keep this short because Dewey's actually going to go, as soon as we're off the podcast here, he's going to go learn some stuff about what he just talked about. So coming down to it, what are some things so you were previously a solopreneur, but you've owned a business before your real estate, and you know you help your dad out with a dry cleaning business and that kind of thing. For somebody that's out there that is wanting to kind of start their own thing, maybe they're locked into a job that they're like, I hate it, I don't want to do this, I want to be my own boss, I want to get out there and actually build something. What are some things that you have taken away from both the businesses that you've had, so the dry cleaning business and then now your real estate business, Hub Properties and Dewey Inc., that you would pass on to somebody that's, I don't know, interested in going and starting off their own thing?
Hey, just do it. I mean, don't be scared. Go out there and do it. You know, I worked at any given time 6 jobs at one point. You know, I was coaching, you know, at the CrossFit gym. I had a sales job, a 9-to-5 sales job. I was selling insurance. I was selling T-shirts online. I was trying to do real estate. I mean, multiple streams of income, right? Yeah, that was the idea anyway. But I was working myself to death. But you know, so just do it. I mean, don't be scared. Go out there and do it. You don't know if you don't try. I mean, so if you fail, just try to fail forward.
Awesome, love that. So I got 2 more questions that I think we asked this to you last time that you were on the podcast, but I'd like to hear it again. Something that we ask every single one of our interviewees. So obviously you know what Good Success is, you know what we stand for. You've heard our story, you know what we're all about, our vision, our goals, and all that, our 4 core values, our community growth, stewardship, charity, and we give out our awards to people that we feel, you know, represent those core values very well. So for you, when you think about good success, the phrase good success, what does that mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Just giver. Y'all are all about giving, you know, before receiving, and that's amazing to me. That's why I love your culture, and that's why I love the Good Success.
Awesome.
Mastermind.
Awesome. Good to hear. So you got to leave our audience with one thing: a quote, a thought, piece of advice, maybe a resource, something you've learned. One thing that you got to leave the audience with. What would that be?
You're gonna have to go back to just do it.
Just do it.
That's what everybody told me in the mastermind. Just do it. Go hire somebody, and that's what I did. So that'd be probably the biggest advice I can give anybody: is just go out and do it.
Yeah. Well, along that lines too, I know we said one thing, but along that lines too, you listened to the group.
Yes,
you trusted
you have
them.
to listen.
You trusted them. That was huge because we've had people come through the room where the whole group is telling them, hey, go do this. Like, we've been there, done that before, and then they come back and didn't do it. And, it's like 3 or 4 meetings later, and they still haven't done it and that kind of thing. But I think that's very impressive that you listened, but you actually applied what the group told you to do. You trusted them.
That's a lot of pressure. 40 guys telling you just go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we weren't going to let him back in the room unless he had somebody hired. But totally kidding. But we're glad that you did that, and hopefully that works out well. It seems like it's gonna be pretty good for you, and it seems like you're already seeing benefits of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all right, cool. I actually got one tiny question I want to squeak in here. Okay. Where did you get that arcade machine for your kid? What in the world,
Facebook
man?
Marketplace. Every time I go to the arcade, we spend tons of money on these machines. Now, I just save
you don't
myself
have
a
to.
ton of money.
Man, that's long-term thinking. That's a long-term thinking, because instead of just spending money at the arcade, you just get one for your house.
For his birthday, you want to go to the arcade, and
awesome.
As soon as you saw that, it's like, I don't need to go arcade anymore. I got my claw machine. That's all I wanted to play with. So
that's hilarious.
That was a great investment.
Man, I saw that on Facebook.
An investment.
Yeah, exactly, investment. I saw that on Facebook. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. That is so cool. So anyway, all right, well, that is going to do it for today's episode. Do really appreciate you taking the time to come in here. Hopefully we let you go at a good time so that you can go talk with Jared and talk with Chris and learn some stuff about the business and everything. Tom's in Rhode Island right now, or else he would be here. But
yeah, he told me that last time.
Yeah, he's having fun. We actually interviewed a guy named Michael Zuber yesterday, and Tom jumped on the podcast, and he's got the ocean in the background and all that thing. So he's total opposite of where you're at, though. So you're like, I don't ever want to go that far north. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to the Good Success Podcast, make sure you do that. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and a bunch of other platforms. So just go to the platform, search Good Success, subscribe to us, leave us a review if you're able to. We would appreciate that. And then the Active Turnkey book for free, written by Tom Olson, the president of Good Success himself. The best way to buy rentals. A lot of great information in here. Dewey's already read it, and he said it was great. So go pick it up for free. Tom is going to pay for it. We're just asking you to cover shipping costs. So make sure you go do that. goodsuccess.com/ATK book is where you can pick that up. Take advantage of it. A lot of great value in there. And then the Good Success Mastermind, which Dewey is a part of, and we'll see you in November. So I'm super excited about that. The next event is November 8, 9, and 10. We do have a boating activity where we just talked about networking. We're going to have a lot of networking going down there, and that's November 7. But the actual event is November 8, 9, and 10 in Miami, Florida at the Embassy Suites near the airport. So you guys go check that out, goodsuccess.com/mastermind to learn more about that. We do have you fill out an application, so make sure you answer those questions, and then you'll get on the phone with either myself or Tom Olson. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and remember to be a conduit and not a bucket.